and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes. My name is Lindsay Milner and I'm a training and development consultant, and I work mainly with non-profit organisations to help them to create awesome workplaces. And while I've been doing that work, I have read many books. So books on personal development, business development, effective management, and books on thinking. This week's book is called How to Do a Great Job and Go Home on Time, and it is written by Fergus O'Connell. It was written in 2005, but actually reading the information through, I think it's still very relevant in today's business world. It's really for anybody who's overworked, anybody who's overloaded, has too much to do, can't get through all of their work, anybody who's stressed because their boss keeps giving them more work and they haven't got time to take on new tasks. It's also relevant if you work in a culture where everybody's expected to put in long hours. Even if the work isn't there to keep you busy for the hours you're expected to be there, there's a culture that people frowned upon if they think about going home when the clock hits 5 o'clock. That's going home early. Doesn't matter that those are your contracted hours, you're going home early. So it's also relevant if you work in that kind of culture. And I really like some of the strategies that are in this book. One thing that I wasn't quite so keen on is that it's written with a sort of multiple choice quiz at the beginning of each chapter, and it's a little bit fiddly to read the answers compared to the quizzes. It's quite a quirky way of writing it and a good way of engaging you, but it is a little bit of a faff kind of going back and forth. However, if you put that aside, the point that it's trying to make through those mini quizzes is absolutely spot on. And the strategies that it suggests that you adopt for getting to grips with your workload. It suggests first off that you have a review of how much work you've got to do and how long that's going to take you, compared to how long you actually have at your disposal. And he uses the analogy of a dance card, the sort of old-fashioned, Victorian debutante going to the dance, and she ticks off, oh no, that one's gone, that one's gone, that one's gone. Oh, I can spare you, I can fit you in for this dance here. So it's a way of actually looking at the hours that you've got available to spend at work and how long the work that you're expected to do will take, and making a bit of a comparison of those two to see just how overloaded you are. And he says it's not uncommon for people to have 3 or 4 times the amount of work that they've got hours in the day to actually do the work, which is obviously a recipe for a great deal of stress. There are strategies for dealing with your bosses, with dealing with your peers, your colleagues, and also for dealing with your own feelings. Do you feel guilty if you go home? Do you feel that people are looking at you disapprovingly? Are you agreeing to these things because you need the approval of the people that you work with? So there's lots of information in there about how to deal with your own feelings as well. And it is actually written in a very no-nonsense way to make you see the futility of what you're actually trying to do. If you're trying to, and he calls people who do these magicians, you're trying to do more work than you've actually got hours in the day to do. You're working longer hours, you're taking work home, you're getting this stuff done. The quality's probably not great, but to start with, people think you're a magician because you're actually doing things that you said were impossible. But he points out it's not sustainable to keep working like that. So if you have this problem, I definitely recommend working your way through this book. You've got to apply the exercises though. He does say the pixie dust is you actually implementing the ideas. If you're on my 30-day challenge at the moment to change how you feel about work. This could be a useful supplement for that if overload is one of the things that you're battling with. What I'd suggest you do is wait till we get to the end of the 30-day challenge and then maybe try this out as well. Don't take on too much at once, because that, you know, you're defeating the purpose of this book if you're taking on too much stuff at once. But as an exercise, as a way of going about it, obviously I've not implemented it, I've not actually tried out the techniques, but they seem very, very logical, realistic, and yeah, if I was in that situation, I would be wanting to give this a go. So that's this week's book in 5 minutes, How to Do a Great Job and Go Home on Time by Fergus O'Connell. Let me know what you think. Have you come across this book? Have you tried out any of the techniques in there? I'd be really interested to see your thoughts. Until then, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get next week's video, and I will see you next week. Bye.